Welcome! Our plans for today was something a little different, trying to dodge the inevitable crowds with a visit to Fort Worth in Texas. We have two specific places in mind for some urban photography, the Fort Worth Stockyards and the Fort Worth Water Gardens. And what better way to start than with a hearty and healthy breakfast? So with appetites momentarily satiated, we jumped into the metal steed and headed for our first location. Now, I'm not comfortable doing lots of filming with big crowds around, but here goes. The Stockyards, or Cowtown as it is also known, is an historic district of Fort Worth, 98 acres of which is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The arrival of railroads in 1876 was the catalyst for the creation of a 206-acre livestock centre, with the Stockyards opening for business on the 19th of January 1890. It maintained its importance until the 1950s, when the trend for more local cattle auctions saw a marked decline in business. There are over 20 attractions at the Stockyards, and after a quick wander and some liquid refreshment, we headed into the John Wayne Museum. Obviously no photos from inside, except this little quote, which made me chuckle. With all that walking and drinking, we're all feeling a little peckish. There are 46 bars and restaurants in this area, and it would have been remiss of us not to have tried at least several. So without hesitation, we headed into Mule Alley to review the culinary options. It was a little busy, even by touristy standards, but we still partook of some nachos and local adult barley soda to wash it down. Lovely. Mrs. Faceless was very keen to visit the Stockyards Museum, located in the Livestock Exchange building. Faceless' brother-in-law and I were very keen on one of those stands just outside, which gave us the chance to sample the delights of a whiskey Rita. So we grabbed a couple of those, found some very comfortable rocking chairs, and on the porch of the Livestock Exchange we sipped away as the world looked on. It was now approaching time for our next challenge. Every day at 11:30am and again at 4pm there's a cattle drive of the famous Texas Longhorns. All we had to do was position ourselves in amongst hundreds of people and yet still manage to get some video and photos. As it turns out, that's a whole lot easier with 3 people than one. Those Longhorns really are something to behold. I wanted to ensure a sharp image, especially as I would be at the maximum of the zoom at some points. So I ended up at 1/250th of a second, f13 and an ISO of 1600. Not a problem for the Fuji, and also bearing in mind I'm handheld with people knocking me left and right as everyone's moving to get the best view. These animals were brought to the Americas by the Spanish conquistadors as a food source, and with a high tolerance for heat and drought, they have adapted well to life in Texas. The horns on these beasts can span more than 8 feet, and the bulls can weigh more than 2,200 pounds, and they are the official large mammal of the state of Texas. After a little souvenir hunting, the next stop was food. We had some time to kill before it got dark, so took a slow walk along Houston Street. Or is that Houston Street? To our surprise, as we got close to the water gardens, we stumbled upon this. Literally the Hole in the Wall gang. The gang came to Fort Worth for a spell of R&R. They dropped into a downtown photographer's to pose for their famous group picture. The photographer, meanwhile, liked the result of his work and pinned up a copy in the shop window. A passing law enforcement agent recognised the people, and that photo became the basis of a wanted poster. The sculpture recreates the group photo near to where the studio once stood, literally in a hole in the wall. We had waited until dark to arrive at the water gardens, knowing that it was lit up. For a cold February evening, this was way busier than we had expected. A quick photo at the entrance. And then onto the main feature. There are a few pointers here. The centre pool has excellent bubble motion. There are stairs down that act as a leading line. And then there's a series of ledges where the classic shots seem to be taken from. It can be a little precarious walking around on these ledges, so I should probably say don't do what we did. But surely being sensible, that should be common sense. As I'd mentioned, it was a little busier than expected, and those stairs. They are somewhat of a problem as they invite people to go into the scene. So let's just speed this up a little. We knew that there would be a gap in what seemed to be a steady flow of people, so we just needed to be ready. And more people arriving. Then all of a sudden, it was clear, so we grabbed our opportunity. But I think that's a wrap for now. We got one shot, and then there was just too many people. So, until next time. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed travelling along with us today, a like and a subscribe would be much appreciated. Until next time.